everyone! On today's video I bring you a story time, and it's going to be about the most horrifying night of my life. As you can see on the video, it was pretty traumatizing for me. So yeah, I recommend you to go and get a coffee or a tea or whatever would you like to drink, and let's start the story. This was when I was 18 years old. Right now I'm 33, so it was quite a long time ago. When I was living in Spain, I used to live in the Alicante area, and my auntie, she's a singer, and she had like a company with like a ballet, singers, comedians. It was like a show that she was doing like in different cities and everything. And my auntie, she didn't live in Alicante. She lived like 7 hours away from Alicante, and she was always my favorite auntie. So every time that I could see her, I did. I remember that she phoned me one day, like at 2 o'clock or something, and she was like, "Hey, I'm going to Cartagena to make one of my shows. Do you want to come and see it?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course." So Cartagena, it's like, I think, around 50 kilometers away from Torrevieja, something like that, which is the place that I used to live. And I didn't have a car at that time. I was just 18 years old. So on that time I was with my ex, so I told him, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So we took a bus to go to Cartagena, and yeah, we arrived there, and I obviously didn't have time enough to plan all of this, because she phoned me and then I automatically went to get the bus. And remember, at that time the phones were just to text and call. We didn't have internet on the phones to like GPS or like to book anything. Nothing, just a normal phone. So yeah, we went there, and on my head I was thinking, okay, I assume that when my auntie finishes the show, she can just drop me off in my city again, because on the way that she's going to her city, she passes my city, so she can do it. Wrong. She couldn't, just because they had a big van, but they also had all the comedians, all the dancers, and all the equipment, you know, the lighting, everything. So when I met her, she was like, "Oh, so how are you going back home?" And I was like, "Can't you drop me off?" And she was like, "Oh, no, we're full." And I was like, "Okay, don't worry, I will just find something." I wanted to be like a grown-up and independent woman, so I was like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll got everything planned." Lies. So yeah, the show started at like 10 p.m. and finished about 12, something like that. And this was in the outside of the city. So she was like, "Okay, so do you have everything planned? Are you getting a hotel for the night?" Yeah, everything's planned. Okay, so then she left, and it was just my ex and I in the middle of nowhere, going back to the city center, which was quite scary because it was no street lights, it was just a road, an old road. But yeah, finally we made it into the city center, and we looked for hotels. Remember, we didn't have phones that tell us where the hotels are. So we were just like kind of looking everywhere where we can find a hotel or a hostel or something like that. And some of them were full, and the other ones that they weren't full, they were bad. And I mean, when we enter, you could see like a really old building, people injecting needles on themselves and things like that. Just like really bad people. Rats running around the corridors. So I was like, yeah, I'm not sleeping here, because I think we will die if we do. So yeah, we left, and this time it was already like 2:30 at night, something like that, because obviously we were just walking around hoping to find hotels or stuff. So I told my ex, okay, the first bus is going to be at 6 in the morning. The station is going to open at like 5 something. So how about if we just go to the area of the station, eat whatever crisps we had, because obviously we didn't have dinner, we didn't have anything. Every step of this trip was really badly planned. We just bought some crisps or something of a local store, and I said, okay, let's just go around the station and make some time, because it was already like, by the time that we arrived to the station, it was already like 3 in the morning, so essentially we just needed to wait 2 hours more. So I remember that in front of the station it was a park, and for some reason we thought that we would be safe on a dark park. We were 18 and stupid. So yeah, we went to the park, we started eating our crisps. And I remember I started to see people around the trees, like kind of hiding, but like surrounding us. And I was like, okay, this is not normal. Because first of all, why are they kind of hiding? And they were getting closer and closer. So before they got like really close, I told my ex, okay, let's go into the station. And you know, sometimes women have this sixth sense that something is about to happen, but some men don't. That was the case with my ex. He was like, why? And I was like, there's weird people around, let's go. No, it's just people in the park. What people in the park is going to be at 3 a.m? Come on, it's common sense. Just go, get up and go. So finally, I make him go with me, and we went to the station. And I thought, okay, here there's more light, there's a road, which no cars were passing, but on my head I was like, this is more like of a safe place kind of thing. Well, I was wrong, because they kept following us. And you know how wolves hunt? They start to surround the prey and coming from like different angles and just coming to you or the prey. That's exactly how it went. We were the prey and they were surrounding us. And I was like, okay, obviously this is not normal, because if there were just people on the park, they will just have stayed in the park. And this is not being the case. So I was like, I told him, this is not okay, this is not normal. But he kept like, well, I don't know. Anyway, one of the guys shouted at us. It was the one that he was getting closer and closer. And he was like, hey, do you have a lighter? And we were like, no. And they kept coming and coming. And he kept trying to make conversation, to like trying to make us feel, I don't know, safe. But obviously we didn't feel, well, I didn't feel safe. Maybe my ex was. Because 10 guys were surrounding us. So I was like, yeah, no, this is not okay. And then I saw that some of them started to reach into the pocket. And I was like, okay. We are 2 teenagers, 2 obvious teenagers, who are eating crisps at 3 a.m. on a park. Obviously, we don't have any money, otherwise we wouldn't be there eating crisps. So I don't think they just want to steal something from us. And remember, this was 15 years ago, so phones weren't as expensive as they are now. So yeah, people stole phones at that time, but it's not like now that an iPhone cost a lot. So I don't think the main reason was just to try and steal something from us, because obviously we didn't have any money. We're just 2 teenagers. And then I saw that they started to put knives out. And I was like, okay, we need to do something now, because if they get any closer, we are done. There's no one around. No one could hear us shouting, because it was just a bus station, and in front it was a park, a dark park. And then on the left side, it was just an old road with nothingness. On the right, it was some buildings, but you needed to kind of go far. So I told my ex, just do it, run. And we run like maniacs. So on the only tiniest space that they had, we passed through them to the right. So we went to the buildings. as soon as we start to run, they start to chasing us. And I could remember the feeling of the adrenaline through my body, because I'm not like a really fit person. Obviously, I was 18, so I was more fit than now, but I wasn't like an athlete or something like that. I wasn't, but honestly, my legs were just flying, just like so fast. Thanks to adrenaline. It's a lifesaver, honestly. So yeah, we just run like maniacs, and I remember to hear of them chasing us. So I thought, okay, I'm going to lead this, because obviously my ex is not taking any leadership, and until he didn't saw the knives, he didn't saw any danger around. So I'm leading this. So I passed through him and I said, just follow me. And I start to make like zigzags between cars and things and trees and whatever I could find to try and lose them. And then when we were like in more of like buildings, flats and everything, I saw one person just leaving a house. And in Spain, there's usually like big buildings with a lot of flats inside, like a lot. So no one is going to ask you, hey, why are you coming to my building or anything, because there's too many people living. And yeah, so I remember this moment like if it was a film, honestly, because I saw, it was quite far, I saw the person exiting the building, and I was like, okay, we need to go inside. And I remember like, slow motion, me running, the door closing, and me in the last second stopping them from closed. And then I enter, and my ex enter, and then we close the door. And we saw that they still in the area, because the door had some glasses. They couldn't see us because inside of the building it was quite dark. And I remember on that part of the building, it was the elevators, the lifts, and the staircase. And behind the staircase, it was like a small place. I don't know the name of that, but it's like, yeah, just underneath the stairs. And we hide over there. But we were looking in the portal just in case. I don't know. And we could see how they were calling some flats. Obviously, no one answered because it was, 3 in the morning? But they were trying into different buildings to try and get us. It was so terrifying. Every time that someone left that building, we were so tense with the door closing. Like, what if they just enter now because someone has just left? It was horrible. And I remember, I told you that the station was going to open at 5 in the morning, but I saw that the streets still kind of dark and not many people around. So I was like, no, it's not safe now. So let's wait until there's more people in the streets and it's more light. So we wait until 6:30 or something. And finally we start to hear like more movement, people going out and everything, like going to work, the usual. So then we went into the streets again. Obviously it was some neighbors of that building that saw us, like, what are these two teenagers doing here hiding? One of them asked us, and we told them what happened. And it was like, yeah, don't worry, yeah, it's not a very good area, it's very problematic, so don't worry, you can stay here as long as you want. Very nice of them. At least no one wanted. I think we were so terrified that everyone kind of knew what was going on, because no one was like, get out of my building. No one. So yeah, then we went into the station and we saw them over there. But it was so many people that they were just pointing at us and talking bad about us and giving us dirty looks. But we just get into the station, and you cannot imagine the feeling of relief that I felt as soon as I was in the bus, as soon as the bus started to go. Oh my god. It was just a horrible, horrible night. I really don't know what they wanted to do to us. Obviously nothing good. I really don't think that they wanted just to steal from us, because as I said, we were two teenagers. By our looks, you couldn't think that we were rich or something like that. And yes, I say, the phones at that time, they were kind of cheap. It was, what, 200 euros for a phone, or even less. It's not like now that then it costs you a kidney and everything. So yeah, I really don't know. And the fact that it was so many of them, so many, it was 10. Why 10 people to just steal a couple of teenagers that probably are going to shit their pants whilst they're crying and giving the phone? It doesn't make any sense. So honestly, I really don't know what they wanted to do to us. No idea. But I'm so glad that we could escape. Honestly, every time that I tell this story, I'm like really, really tense, because it makes me it brings back all those feelings, our memories. And honestly, it was terrifying. Terrifying. But yeah, that was my worst night of my entire life. So let me know what you think in the comments, and also let me know if sadly you have experienced something similar. It doesn't need to be something exactly like this, but I don't know, just a scary night that sadly you have been through, so we can support each other. All of these situations, they're really scary, but also makes you stronger, and also you learn from this. I learned of how to reach people faster. And now every time that I see something that I feel is dodgy, I just go away instead of, yeah. And this is a thing with my actual boyfriend, because he's more like, he's a strong guy, okay? He doesn't have that fear. I'm really short, I'm skinny, so I know that on a physical fight I cannot do anything. But he doesn't, because he's strong. So sometimes if I feel like that, we live in a big city, so obviously there's things can happen, and I'm like, okay, let's just cross the street. And because he doesn't have that, he never feel that fear of something can go really wrong, let's avoid it. He's always like, why do you want to cross the street now? But like shouting. And it's like, shut up, you are making it too obvious, shut up and do it. Honestly, if a person comes to me, if I'm walking with a friend and suddenly she's like, let's cross the street, like in a whisper voice, or she says, I don't know, let's get into the store or something like that, I'll just go with it. And then I ask questions like, what was that? What happened? But if I can see a terrified face, a loud, lower voice, I'll just do it. I'll just go like, okay, let's do it. And then I will ask. But my boyfriend, he's not like that. He's just like, why? Why do you want to do it? Why? And shouting. He's like, shut up! Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, just a fun fact of my life that, oh my god. Anyway, yeah, just drop a comment if you sadly had this type of situation, and we can support each other. And yeah, as always, have a lovely day and see you in the next video.